Thanks for joining us tonight. For your news at 11, I'm Hannah Patrick. We have breaking news tonight. The third inmate who escaped the Tennessee jail last week has been arrested tonight in Wilmington. Authorities have been looking for Johnny Shane Brown all week. Peyton Furtado is live in Wilmington where he was found tonight. Peyton, what do we know? Good evening. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Hannah Patrick. We start tonight with a staple in Carolina Beach, a landmark for those with a sweet tooth, a sign of spring. If you haven't guessed it by now, I'm talking about Brits Donuts. It is open. Peyton Furtado is live with the best assignment of the night. Peyton, how many donuts have you had and how long is that line?
We begin with an unsolved case, now solved 25 years later. Timothy Smart went missing in Boiling Spring Lakes in 1995.
It's a case I aired in my Unsolved series in 2018 and 2019. When it aired, it brought in a new tip for investigators, and a few months later, an arrest, and then Smart's body. And this morning, the man who killed Smart pleaded guilty, an emotional moment for all those involved.
We were all just talking about it, and many people in our area are talking about the seemingly never-ending rain.
Thank you, Peyton. And Wilmington police are still investigating several shootings in our region, including one that injured a 6-year-old child. They're asking for your help. And did you know you can offer information and stay completely anonymous? Before heading to that breaking news tonight, Peyton Furtado spoke with an expert about how to text a tip. We start tonight with an incredible rescue off our coast. A father and son saving a man who went overboard with his boat still in drive. Sydney Bouchel joins us now after talking to all three of them. Sydney, this story is amazing, but also hard to believe. What happened? Hey Randy, the tornado that hit this portion of Brunswick County last night left a path of destruction behind me in the woods and across the street at Ocean Ridge Plantation. This afternoon, a press conference was held discussing the details of the aftermath. Matthew Huddleston has the details. And several people have been impacted by this storm. Sydney Bouchel has been out here all day talking to people who have been impacted. What did you find out?
Well, Hannah, the Brunswick County Emergency Management says this is going to be a long process of recovery. And I talked to people who are going through that process right now, and they say that they're leaning on their faith to get them through it all.
Those in that area have some of the most unbelievable images of the destruction. Here are some of those photos sent to us today. As always, we depend on our viewers. If you have something to share, go to wwaytv3.com/report it. Then upload your image or video and we'll get it. Make sure to turn your phone sideways like a TV screen. That way you get the best images. Right now, some people in Brunswick County are without power following last night's deadly storm. Brunswick Electric Membership Corporation is still working to restore power. We can see them on the road right now to areas hit hardest by last night's severe weather. They say at the peak of the storm last night, about 35,000 people were without power. Right now, numbers are down to about 1,000 people without power. BEMC says they're trying to restore service as quickly as possible. And because of those outages, all Brunswick County schools were closed to students and staff today. Thanks for joining us tonight. For your news at 5, I'm Hannah Patrick. With more growth comes more responsibility. And for Carolina Beach, that means taking steps to make sure the water supply can keep up with demand. WWAY's Peyton Furtado speaking with the town manager today about a new text amendment that could mean a more hydrated future for the beach town. Peyton, what did you find out? And I'm Hannah Patrick. Good evening. Our nation pauses tomorrow to remember the more than 3,000 lives lost 20 years ago. Vice President Mike Pence will be in Wilmington tonight. He's expected to be at Wilmington International Airport at 6:30. Our own Matt Bennett is live at ILM now with a look at the crowd and what to expect tonight. Matt, how's it looking out there? I will say it is really exciting to see those power crews and the tree trucks on the roads. I mean, when I went to the hotel earlier to take a shower, I saw a couple and it was kind of like, help!
I saw 3 with their flashing lights, and let me tell you, that's the best thing I've seen in the last 2 or 3 days.
And we want to just really show our appreciation and say thank you to all of those crews who are about to, really hit the roads and start that work, because they really are going to be our heroes.
And we do want to remind you, if you are joining us live stream, we know thousands of you are doing so. If you're in points west, in Charlotte and Asheville, and you're thinking about making your way back in the next couple of days, remember, there are hardly any hotel rooms available in the Wilmington area, and that's primarily because so many of these power crews have come into town to help us with restoration efforts, and the rooms just aren't available. So.
And there's not much power, which means no AC, and that's kind of tough to deal with in the summer heat.
Right, so you may want to stay put.
All right, speaking of which, let's go ahead and send things over to meteorologist Justin McKee for a look at the forecast. Justin, how's it looking?
Good morning, Jeff. I am on Highway 17 in Pender County, right in front of Jenkins Road. You can probably hear the huge law enforcement presence behind me. I'm going to step out of the way so you can actually see the law enforcement presence on Jenkins Road. This road is blocked off and has been for a while now. The Pender County Sheriff's Office is actively investigating a report of an active shooter at Topsail High School. So far, what we've heard around 7 o'clock this morning, Captain James Rowell from the Pender County Sheriff's Office told us that no injuries had been reported. Parents tell us that they received a call this morning from the school district saying that all schools on the eastern side of the county are on lockdown. Again, you can see this huge law enforcement presence on Jenkins Road. There are a couple of different roads that are blocked off along Highway 17 with this huge law enforcement presence. We keep seeing these deputies and law enforcement officers up and down Highway 17. Parents can pick up their kids from Lowe's Foods, the kids that have already been picked up from buses this morning. Again, at 7 o'clock this morning, no injuries had been reported. Just a huge law enforcement presence all along Highway 17 in Pender County. Of course, we are going to bring you the latest on this developing story as it becomes available. But again, the important thing is that so far no injuries have been reported, and schools are so far, as we can tell, still on lockdown. Stay with us online on Facebook and on Twitter for the latest details on this story. Live in Pender County, Hannah Patrick, WWAY News.
All right, we've been talking about this tonight. A Texas lawyer showed up as a cat on a Zoom court hearing. The lawyer said a child turned the cat filter on and he couldn't figure out how to change it back. Take a look. People living nearby say the vegetation has attracted rodents, snakes, and coyotes. Officials say the goats would only cost $10 per goat per day and can eat up to 140 square feet of vegetation every 24 hours. That's not a bad solution. Good morning, Randy. I was going to hold a whole donut for you, but I got a little carried away. There's a good chance I'm going to have at least a dozen donuts before 7 o'clock, but the calories don't count if it's for a good cause, right? The day is finally here. It is the WWAY one-day blitz at Krispy Kreme on South College Road. This is my favorite day of work in the whole year. It's like Christmas morning. We have a little more than 8 hours to restock the shelves at the Salvation Army Food Pantry.
Yep, that's what I've been dealing with for the last 15 minutes. Yeah.
That movie looks really funny, though.
It does.
I love Rebel Wilson.
And how about Stalker Channing? Wow, I love her.
And Richard Gere having another baby.
Wow.
Age is just a number.
I'm not going to say anything. Yes.
There you go.
Congratulations.
All right, it's hump day, and we have two incredible interviews planned for you in the studio this morning.
So top off your coffee mug, and after this break, we'll meet you on the couch for another hour of Good Morning Carolina.
We're going to go send it back over to them.
Thank you guys so much for that. I know you guys need a break from talking.
Yes, they've been doing it around the clock for the last 30 minutes. It's kind of been interesting here at the WWAY studios.
Yeah, and you know, for almost an hour, they were telling you guys about certain areas you need to take cover. And then all of a sudden, it became a situation that we were experiencing. And, you know, our news director came in and got us all out. We had to just leave the studio. They will be in the Port City next week for a game at UNCW's Trask Coliseum. But first, we wanted to get a little taste of all the fun. So El Gato Melendez is here with us.
This is what we're going to do. There you go.
All right.
I'm doing it. Mom, look, I'm doing it. Can you imagine working there and just...
What if a bear just
Excuse me,
walked
sir.
in here?
How can I help you? Here to check in?
I would be leaving. I would enjoy your forecast outside. Yeah.
This is very scary.
Okay.
Okay.
It's getting thick in here right now.
I think
All right,
time to
guys,
go.
have a wonderful Friday. We'll see you next week, and have a great weekend. Enjoy the sun today.
We begin with an unsolved case, now solved 25 years later. Timothy Smart went missing in Boiling Spring Lakes in 1995.
It's a case I aired in my Unsolved series in 2018 and 2019. When it aired, it brought in a new tip for investigators, and a few months later, an arrest, and then Smart's body. And this morning, the man who killed Smart pleaded guilty, an emotional moment for all those involved.
Was a very happy human being. He was very positive. He didn't deserve what happened to him.
Timothy Smart grew up in California, but in 1995, he went missing in Boiling Spring Lakes. For years, it weighed on his family.
There isn't a Thanksgiving that doesn't go by that I don't remember that we spent it with Tim, and that was the last Thanksgiving we got.
Smart's stepmom, Jeanette Smart, says it's been really hard for her and Smart's dad.
It has affected him so much he can't even talk about it.
Jeanette and a very close family friend, Juanita Verdine, say it was extremely hard for Smart's mom, Gail. So much so that they believe she died of a broken heart in 2016.
Tim was her only child.
My opinion was her worry, her fretting, her not knowing where her son was, bore on her heart till she just gave out.
And for almost 25 years, Smart's case remained unsolved until 2019.
Every once in a while, the press plays an indispensable role in not only reporting the news, but help us to solve cases. In this particular matter, investigative journalism, coupled with the follow-up work by very seasoned detectives, helped crack a cold case.
After our unsolved piece aired, District Attorney John David says they got a tip.
Someone had the courage to call in and share information which literally broke this case wide open.
David says that led to a series of interviews among a group of friends from 1995. And in July of 2019, investigators arrested Brian O'Daniels. 2 months later, they found Smart's remains buried in a shallow grave in the woods. 2 years later, O'Daniels pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, with Smart's family watching over video conference.
It's bittersweet. It revives a lot of emotions.
And while it may be closure, Jeanette says it doesn't feel like justice for anyone.
We'll never get Tim back. Mr. O'Daniels is not going to get his life back as to what it could have been. But when you're young and you make bad choices, you have to pay for them.
It's not easy, but Jeanette is hoping, at least, that Tim and Gail are somewhere watching.
I prayed to them last night, just asked them to give us support to get through it, and hopefully that they knew we made it. We finally got there.
O'Daniels will serve 14 to 18 years in prison. When I started this series 4 years ago, this was the goal, to find answers for families and hopefully bring them some kind of closure. And I can't stress enough, if you know anything about a crime, even the smallest detail can help investigators.
It can. We were just talking about this. What you did kind of brought light back to this. I really want to know, why do they think O'Daniels killed Smart in the first place?
So it was that group of friends. David says that they think O'Daniels thought that Timothy Smart was interested in his girlfriend at the time, and they thought, O'Daniels thought that Smart had stolen $40 from him. So that's what the group of friends revealed in their witness interviews. Well, and we're going to have more details about this story online.
Yeah, good job. Very nice work. Thank you, Hannah.
In Curry Beach, a stroll to find seashells and shark teeth led to a very unexpected find for a couple who just retired on Pleasure Island.
And I get to tell you why that mile-long walk ended with the bomb squad at the couple's door. It's a story that's only on WWAY.
This will never happen in our lifetime again.
This started as a hunt for seashells.
We were walking south from our house down towards Fort Fisher. We looked for seashells and shark teeth.
But Patty and Carrie Bellinger's daily walk on the beach was about to turn into a treasure hunt.
I looked down into about 6 inches of water and I thought, what is that? And so I said to Carrie, what is that? What do you think that is? And he says, it's a rock. And I said, I don't think that's a rock.
Carrie started digging.
It literally looked like a big bullet.
Patty says it was too heavy to carry, but she was not going to leave it behind.
So I wasn't going to let it go. Yeah, no.
Carrie threw it over his shoulder and they took it home.
And we talked about it a lot. I thought, we just don't know if this is safe or not.
So where did she turn? Facebook.
So we put that out and immediately the hits just started coming.
That's when Patty says they decided to call police.
And I was just sitting in my chair reading a book and I heard a voice behind me saying, hi, are you the lady with the bomb? And I hopped up and I said, yes, it's right over here.
Patty says she was hiding it under a plastic bag on her porch.
As I pulled it up, he backed off. So he took one look at it, and immediately the unmarked cars started to pull up.
And then she says the bomb squad showed up. Lieutenant Jerry Brewer with the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office and state archaeologists say it's a Union 30-pound Parrott round from the Civil War. And
it was actually live.
And it's actually illegal for them to possess it. Any artillery round that hadn't been disposed of and cleaned out properly is against the law to possess.
That's why Brewer says they took it away to discharge it.
Deputy Chapman, he right away sent us a picture of it. He says, "I'm so sorry."
Because sometimes making it safe doesn't always mean keeping it in one piece.
But I'll bring you the pieces.
The next day, the Bellingers got all the pieces and instructions on how to put it back together. And
it's a really great story.
A story about a treasure hunt.
Let's hold her.
They didn't even know they were on.
Some people who are the Civil War buffs, they've been looking for these things all their lives. We've been here 3 weeks, and it just literally washed up at our feet. So we feel pretty cool about this whole thing. It's been really exciting.
Yeah, pretty cool. The Bellingers donated their find to the state, and it will be on display within 6 months to a year.
There are so many parts about this story that I love. First of all, they are adorable.
Yes.
They just moved here.
Yeah.
And they're like kids on the beach finding this discovery.
Yeah, and I mean, she said they don't really go, they don't have metal detectors, they don't go looking for these things. They were just looking for shells.
And then the voice behind her as she's reading the book, "Are you the lady with the bomb?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
she was such a character.
I would
So
love
much
for her
fun.
to be my neighbor.
Yes.
Yes.
And turns out there is a law that means that
Didn't know
it's the states.
Didn't know
Yeah.
that. Very informative.
All right.
Imagine fighting in the Vietnam War with your best friend only to lose contact for more than 40 years. That's exactly what happened to Danny Cherry and Earl Glenwood. Now, thanks to Sherry's wife and Facebook, that is no longer the case.
And it's a story that Hannah Patrick was there to get this sweet Navy reunion. It's a story that's only on WWAY.
We're pals and saw the world together. You stay close as a friend over there. Most service people, you stay close.
How would you describe him as a friend?
My bodyguard.
It may come as no surprise that this friendship started when Danny Cherry and Earl Glenwood were only 18 in the Navy.
I met him on the boat. We were in the same division.
In 1974, they were both on the USS Oriskany in the Vietnam War.
And we stayed friends. It was like 4 of us that stayed together.
But Cherry and Wood's bond included matching clothes in Hong Kong.
Like silk flowery shirts and pants made, which everybody thought it was crazy, but we did stuff like that.
They also did stuff more permanent, like this.
I have the anchor. I always called him Woody. That was his nickname. And then he goes, "I want to get a tattoo." And he said, "I want to get Woody Woodpecker with the red boxing gloves." And it was just a comical that we went and got it.
But after traveling the world together for 2 years, it all came to an end.
When we decommissioned it after Vietnam, everybody went their separate ways.
That was the last time they ever saw each other 43 years ago.
From the day I met Danny, he talked about his best friends in the military.
After listening to Cherry's stories for more than 40 years, his wife Gail was determined to find the men in them.
I became friends on Facebook.
But she didn't know Wood's full name.
I just knew he was called Woody.
After some searching, Cherry found the profile of Glenn Wood.
I said, "Are you the one with a tattoo?" And that's when he said,
I didn't think for sure that he was the right person until Gail asked me about the tattoo I had on my back. And I said, that's Danny, that's him.
The tattoo that sealed their bond was now the reason they would meet again. Cherry lives in California. Wood lives in South Carolina. After more than a year and a half of talking and planning, they arranged to meet in Leland.
How you doing, buddy?
What's up, friend?
Good gosh,
Oh,
long
man.
time no see,
How you
man.
been?
Yeah.
A long-awaited reunion after more than 4 decades. But it may come as no surprise that they picked up right where they left off. A friendship that started at 18, but they knew
Unbelievable.
would last a lifetime.
A bond that, we won't forget. There's some things that we did that we don't need to talk about, that, but it was fun. It was an experience that I don't think I'll ever experience again.
And Cherry says he also found one other friend in the group, Danny Kesswater, but there's a 4th friend he has not been able to locate. His name, Clifford Hicks. So if you know him and he's watching, you need to reach out to them.
You absolutely do.